Hello there, Libra. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly tarot video forecast for the month of April. What I'm actually looking at is one life cycle that is happening in your life in April. So this is not going to be by any means any kind of comprehensive look at the whole month for you. This is just going to be one major theme that will run through your life in the month of April. So, the other thing that you need to know about this reading is this is a general reading. Not everything is going to apply to every single Libra. It just doesn't work that way when you're doing a reading that so many different people watch the video for. If you want to find out information about a specific situation that's in your life, then what you want to do is book a private reading. That way, somebody can look at your situation for you and it's just yours. So it's much more likely to be accurate for you. Excuse me. So the first thing that I'm seeing about you Libras for this particular life cycle in April, and by the way, a life cycle just sets us up to learn something or experience something, and then we move on and graduate from that life cycle to learn something or experience the next thing. So your environment during this life cycle, an environment is any place where you have a lot of energy or effort invested. What I'm seeing about your environment is that it seems to be maybe not the most exciting place, but absolutely positively functional for you. It works well for you. It does what it's supposed to do. So environment, any place where you have energy or effort involved, most times I see that as home, but I've also seen it come up as work or as school as well. Now, subconscious leanings is the next thing that I'm looking at. It looks like a lot of you Libras have actually had somebody cross over that is on your mind a lot during this particular life cycle. This feels like for most of you, this is a male, and this is a male who is significant in your life. And when I say significant in your life, this is a father or an uncle that you are close to, possibly a stepfather that you considered like a father, possibly a grandfather, although I'm feeling like we're looking at more the father-uncle generation here. Or this was somebody who was a significant other, perhaps a boyfriend, perhaps a spouse, something like that. It does have, this energy definitely has a very male feel to it. However, because this is a general reading, I don't want to say for all of you this is going to be a male that you're focusing on in your subconscious. 22% of my viewers are men. And so I think that a lot of times these readings come out geared more towards a female audience because I do ask Sacred Spirit to bring me things that are true for the majority of people who watch. So a lot of times, guys, whenever you hear me talk about a male or a female, you may want to just kind of almost automatically just flip that gender in your mind as you're listening to me talk about that. But just because guys or girls are different watching this doesn't mean that that's a hard and fast rule either. General readings, nothing is a hard and fast rule. So there we go. Now, so subconscious reading or some subconscious, try to talk, Amista. Subconsciously, what you're working on is really you're thinking about that person who has crossed away that was probably some kind of authority figure in your life, definitely someone close to you, and for most of you, probably a male. Not all of you. All right, so as we go through this life cycle, there are some things here. First of all, your learning style as you go through this life cycle. I feel like for this particular life cycle, you don't feel like there's a lot that you really need to focus on learning or researching. I feel like you're just kind of feeling your way through, gliding your way through, just sort of taking it easy as you work your way through this life cycle. As far as learning new things, you're just kind of picking up things as you go in a more relaxed manner. Communication. I feel like right now with this particular life cycle, your communication can be a little bit rough around the edges, is what they're telling me. So you may be communicating things that you're feeling, but the way that you're saying it may not be the most tactful a way to say these things. And it feels to me like there's a lot of emotion around things, and so it's making it hard for you to really stop and be logical about how you're presenting yourself and who you're presenting yourself to and how they may take things before you are putting your ideas out there. Okay, um, the next thing that I'm looking at is work. For a lot of you, this is going to be how you make your living, but work comes into me in a couple of different ways. This can also be something that you're doing to improve yourself. So as you're hearing me describe this, be open to, okay, which place does this fit for me? For some of you, this will actually fit both places. I've had that happen several times in private readings. So what I have about work for you is that there is some kind of message that comes in that has you really excited or fired up about something. So this may be a message about, say that this is work where you make a living, and you've had this pet project that you've really, really, really been wanting to get off the ground, and it hasn't got off the ground yet. And this is just an example. But you get some kind of news saying, okay, we've got the go-ahead, we've got the funding, we've got the interest, let's do this thing. That would be an example of something that would get you really fired up or excited that this project that's kind of your baby is ready to get going. So anything that would have you fired up or excited in work life. Now, if we're talking about work that you're doing on your inner self, then we're talking about that you have some kind of message still that gets you fired up or excited. This is going to be something where you're starting to notice that something that you have been working on changing is you're starting to really see results of that. So something about yourself, if you've been working on maybe your vocabulary, or if you've been working on not reacting to certain situations in a particular way, you just start to see some very noticeable differences, and that um, actually has you motivated and fired up that, oh, well, if I can modify things this much within myself, then maybe I can do this. And it kind of inspires you to go on to the next level of work as far as improving your character that there would be. All right, so that's that. The next card that we have talks to me about that part of you that's being grown or expanded right now. So what I'm feeling like is that you are learning during this particular life cycle in April, Libras, how to um, keep your balance in a situation that is less than ideal as far as getting along with other people. Because what's coming up here is a situation with a partner that is kind of going backwards instead of forwards. And so where you're growing or expanding is you are learning how to keep your composure and how to keep moving forward in spite of setbacks like that. Excuse me. Okay, so the next thing that I'm looking at is something that you stand for. And this is actually you passing along messages of love to somebody else. So messages of love can be anything from erotic messages all the way to totally platonic. They can be family love and anywhere in between. So I don't want you guys to put this in a box and think that it just has to be only about love life, or romantic life. But this is anything. This could be in any relationship that you're involved with. But I do see you passing along messages of love, and I see you. Seems like you're kind of coming a little bit under attack for these messages of love, like somebody saying, why would you do that? That person really treated you bad, blah, blah, blah. Why are you being so nice to them? And this is something that you feel is really important to do. And so you're just not paying any attention to whatever they have to say. That's their deal, but you're doing your deal. Okay, so the next thing that I have is um, this is how other people perceive you. This kind of makes sense with what I saw for what you stand up for. Looks like other people perceive you as going back into a situation, especially possibly a relationship. And this has relationship written all over it. So I'm going to say for most of you Libras, this life cycle is about relationship. Now, it doesn't have to be romantic relationship, can be family relationship, friend relationship, business partner relationship. But anyway, people on the outside are seeing you as going back to an old relationship of some sort. And this is a relationship that you had sort of walked away from thinking that, you were putting in all the effort and the other person wasn't, and it was just draining you. So people around you are seeing you go back into that. Um, that's what they're seeing as you're walking back into that. Ha 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 ha. What actually comes up as your lesson or experience? Let me just make sure this is right before I start just spitting it out here. I gotta tell you, I really think that this is just kind of confirming people's perceptions of you, and it goes along with, you standing up for yourself to be able to pass along a message of love to someone when people are bringing you under attack for that. I think you are getting back together with somebody who really didn't put a lot of work into the relationship before. And so this doesn't even have to be a romantic somebody. This can be a friend that maybe was not that good of a friend before. This can be a family member who maybe stabbed you in the back or didn't treat you very well before. But I see you going back into that relationship as being the lesson or experience of this particular life cycle. And what we have coming up as a result of that is really interesting. First of all, I've got the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, which basically is telling me that it's not a very happy home life situation. It's not a very happy, it's not a very secure situation. It doesn't feel secure to do this. And then the other thing that comes along is that, you're just kind of ignoring your own intuition. So to me, this is saying that there are some red flags that are being thrown here by this person that you're coming back together with. Like I said, whether it's a romantic partner or some other kind of relationship, this person's throwing you some red flags, some warning flags, and you're just not paying attention to them. If anything, you're just sweeping them under the rug. And then ultimate fulfillment, how does that fit in? Let's see here. Okay, so it feels like what's going on is for a lot of you, and please remember general reading won't apply to everybody. For a lot of you, you have some inner turmoil about this. It's like you're seeing the red flags and you're thinking about the red flags, but you're not really doing anything about them. And it looks to me like you just basically decide, you know what? I am just going to not pay attention to these and I am just going to keep moving forward as if everything is all good here and give them benefit of the doubt. And I feel like what I'm hearing is you're making excuses for the other person. Uh, so really interesting life cycle. It looks like something that you're kind of stuck on. There has to be, when I see something like this, I just think there has to be something that you have not learned from this situation yet to keep coming back to this, because this doesn't look like a good situation to come back to start with. So this is either a karmic situation where there's just some debt to be hashed out and repaid, or there's a lesson to be learned here that you just haven't quite gotten yet. Now, I don't know if I said this at the front of this video. I know I've been mentioning it on some of the videos. If something comes up in any of these general readings that you don't particularly like, you do have free will, and free will influences anything. So you can make some decisions that would actually change the energy and shift things around. And so if there are some of these things that you're thinking, you know what, I don't like the sounds of this, then you have the option to make a change here. And to me, that's kind of the blessing of being able to get a reading like this ahead of time, is that you do sort of have a heads up. You kind of know what you're dealing with as far as energy coming down the pike, so that you can sort of head things off a little bit. So anyway, thank you all very much for stopping by, for hanging out, liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. I really do appreciate your support. I hope a lot of you use that free will and make this a happier life cycle for yourself. Everyone, have a fantastic month. I will see you back here the next time. Peace out.